Hello everyone and welcome to Ape-teur Theory, episode 3. We are doing Congo this week.
We gotta introduce ourselves.
And my name is Jose Argumedo.
And I'm Emma Bowers.
And sorry, it's this month in between episodes. It's always like, oh, I forget how this show works.
It doesn't matter. No one's listening to it.
That's okay. So anyways, like I said, we're doing Congo this week. And I don't know, that movie sucks. I did not like this movie at all. I actually really hated it.
I'm not saying it's a good movie, but I think like the other movies we've done, wacky family films, were just like, this is kind of silly. Congo is almost like a study piece. You know what I mean? It fails on multiple levels. And I think that rules in terms of good discussion and content.
I don't...
Should we do a little background on Congo, what it is?
You know more about it than I do. This was literally my first time watching it.
Yeah. So Congo, this surprised me too. I told many a Zoomer friends I was watching this and none of them knew about it. It's completely vanished, I think, from the film ethos. Utterly forgettable, which is interesting because Congo is based on a novel written by Michael Crichton, the original novelist who created Jurassic Park. And then became a climate change denier, so that was fun. And he originally wrote it, he was very inspired by old Alan Quarterman, King Solomon's Mine-esque stories, which kind of makes sense given a lot of really problematic elements that go on. Film rights got sold to it, I think, even before he finished the book. Jurassic Park took off. Congo got shopped around a little bit. I think at one point or another they did want Spielberg to either produce or direct it. That did not happen. Who grabbed it? Was it Paramount?
It was Paramount.
Paramount grabbed it.
And Kathleen Kennedy of Star Wars fame produced this movie.
Produced it.
Which I know there's going to be people who listen to this maybe be like, oh, Star Wars haters or Star Wars, or yeah, boo Star Wars or whatever, like the sequel films. Kathleen Kennedy has more in her resume than just Star Wars and just Congo. So I would chill the fuck out. She's got E.T. under her belt. She's fine.
There you go. Wowie. Yeah, so I believe it originally got promoted at a time, and I think they were really gunning for it to be the next Jurassic Park. It was not... God, Crichton, man. Here's the thing. Nowadays, y'all have YA books and stuff. In my day, the late stage, earlier millennial days, we didn't have that. So after you read a lot of kind of baby books, you just sort of immediately jumped to basically a lot of airport fiction, Stephen King, and Michael Crichton. So I read a fuck ton of Crichton growing up. Then he became a climate change denier. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
He wrote a book. One of his final books before he died was... called State of Fear, and it's basically about how global warming is all made up, how the real threat is eco-terrorism, and it literally ends, I'm not fucking with you, it literally ends on not an epilogue, but kind of the preface, I guess, the thing where the author says something at the very end. Is that called preface?
I have no idea.
Basically, he finishes the book.
I don't read. I can't read.
All right, it's okay. He finishes the book and says, you know what else was a big thing everyone thought was real and everyone was really concerned about? Eugenics. And he literally ends it like that.
Oof.
Yeah. You know that Onion gag where people get a thrill, man gets thrilled mentioning John Lennon beat his wife? That's me every time Jurassic Park comes up. Just a thrill, hey, Crichton was a climate change denier.
As apparently.
And then he died. So that is the background. I like talking about that shit. But there's a lot, like I said, I understand you hated Congo.
Sorry, I fucking hated this movie.
I
hear you. I see you. Yeah, I get it.
But there's a lot to unpack, so I'm actually very excited for this.
Don't even know. Bruce Campbell's in this movie for 20 seconds.
This movie is a delight of
The casting is really good.
The casting is really good. It stars a younger Emmy and Academy Award winner Laura Linney. I don't think she'd won anything by then. It stars the dude who goes on to become one of the doctors from Nip Tuck. It has a brief appearance by a very, very attractive Bruce Campbell. It has
Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, Ernie. I was like, it's Ernie. Ernie what? Yeah, Ernie Hudson.
I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly, but Joey Palantalmo. I'm sorry, Cypher from The Matrix.
Yes, Cypher
The
from the
chief,
Matrix
the boss chief from Bad Boys.
shows up. Mama Mitchell, Joe Don Baker, and we'll probably discuss him a lot. Tim Curry being peak '90s Tim Curry. It is a star-studded cast.
You know, because I feel like I should love this film because I love trash. You know, like I do. I actually have like an affinity for trash. Like I like The Room. I like you know,
Everyone likes The Room.
everyone
though.
likes The Room. I know everybody kind of ironically likes The Room. Let me pick another one. I like, you know, kind of that grindhousey movie, and I feel like this would feel at home in the '70s, like at a grindhouse theater. The problem is, it's not good enough to elevate its material like Jurassic Park, and it's not trashy enough to be something like The Room. It's just nothing, and it's also annoying in all the worst ways.
No, I kind of agree. Kind of a cannibal holocaust, like killer apes, like probably would have been a really fun, trashy movie. But like I said, it wants to be the next Jurassic Park, so it can never really go there, and it sticks in this world where it's trying to be I don't want to say whimsical.
It's not whimsical. It's just this weird.
It's just there.
I don't understand this world at all. Like it doesn't make any sense, even in the context of the '90s. Or I don't even think it makes sense in the '70s when this book was written. But I didn't read the book, so I can't say anything about that. You know what's sad? I actually kind of remember this movie like from trailers and stuff. Because like they would play those TV spots like all the time during like The Simpsons, and I remember I'm like, oh, I guess this movie must be good. And then I never heard anything about it again until like many years later. And I heard it was bad. I didn't understand how bad.
I read the book, I think, a couple of times. I was really excited to see it. And as a kid, you do not have critical thinking skills. You just like everything. You know, you're like, this is good. This is good. You're just basically an adult Marvel fan, but you're a child. Yeah, I like this. That's a thing that I like. And I remember, even as a kid,
God, I have Captain Marvel flashback.
even as a kid, I remember watching it and being like, what the fuck? Like, and I think it was one of the few times I was like, even as a kid, I was sincerely like disappointed and let down by something. I guess we should jump in though, because the plot of Congo, the very rushed, poorly edited, very
I don't even think it's like the pacing is fine.
No, I think the pacing's shit. I think the pacing's terrible.
I don't mind going through like the movie is mercifully short. So as long as I don't mind movies that like we're moving, let's go. But it also feels like it's fast, but it's also slow. I don't understand. I don't get how this movie breaks me.
All right, so we'll start at the beginning, in which preface to a set somewhere in Burbank, and Bruce Campbell is doing diamonds. We'll just say that.
No, okay. So he's working for a telecommunications company, completely unlike AT&T. Completely 100% not like AT&T, owner of Warner Media, where I work. So they are hunting diamonds down to build their satellite telecommunications, because I guess they're going to use lasers to beam voice calls, which, I don't know about you, there's not much latency in voice calls over copper, so I don't think this will help very much. It's not even for the video conferencing that much, because they're already video conferencing over satellite, so it's with no latency and no... sorry. This is nerdy, dumb shit.
It's okay. I will have my own freak out in a little bit here as we continue into the sciences that are not real.
Okay, fine. Might as well do this. So they're using computers, which are all digital, but their video conference calls all have analog noise and analog defects, which would not happen even in 1990. That's not a thing. So it should be all digital. They should be seeing glitches on screen. But again, because video calling wasn't really a thing like it is now, I guess they get a pass because they didn't know better.
So Bruce Campbell is in the jungle looking for diamonds, which aren't how satellites work, I guess. And
He's looking for diamonds so that he can focus a laser beam to make sure that it'll go up to a satellite. Okay. But he turns it into a gun, and we are shown this gun, and he shoots it, and it starts a little fire. So it's a very powerful weapon / communications device of some kind.
Yeah, look, it's ridiculous, but basically, then he gets murdered by something, and is
We're skipping a lot.
no, are we? No,
It's kind of like his friend comes by. He's like, "Hey, come check out this thing," and he shows him like, "Look at all these cool ruins. I'm gonna go up here." And then Bruce Campbell eats a chocolate bar and he gets pissed on or something, and then dies.
No.
What
You
falls
missed it.
on him? I
No,
forgot.
oh my god! And I remember reading this as a kid because when you're a
Oh,
kid,
it's an eyeball.
Yeah, no, gory stuff is always exciting. I remember being because this is actually in the book, and I remember being like, "Whoa!" So he gets hit by something. He's like, "What is it?" And it's an eyeball. It's not Field Grape, I promise. But the whole point is this happens on satellite. So Joe Don Baker and Laura Linney, who, by the way, Crichton had a type. Every single female protagonist in a Crichton book is an athletic, very smart, very blonde woman.
Good for
Her name's Karen, by the way.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, her name is Karen. The only character's name I remember in the movie, honestly, is Amy.
Amy.
Who is
No.
the fucking worst.
I love Amy.
I
Amy
hate
rules. Amy. We're gonna have to do a
Well,
poll.
maybe
We'll do a
I
poll.
hate Amy's voice more than Amy.
I have a soft spot for Amy, because Amy's a lush like me. So anyway, on satellite, Bruce Campbell is murdered, and through the most clunky, I think it is like maybe 3 minutes of just suddenly like, it is, as you know, your father the king. It's basically like, I need you to get, whatever this guy's name is, Tommy, you should know. Well, Tommy was my ex-fiance, and as Tommy's father, you should care more that Tommy is missing. It is.
And possibly murdered. And like, look, this is like one of those capitalism bad. It's just one of those like, it's so over the top that it's not realistic. And look, you can do that in a movie and it's fine if the world we're trying to portray is over the top and unrealistic. But the movie plays it so straight that I feel like it's not trying to be that, even though that's very much the world we're in.
So Laura Linney, who, by the way, is like ex-CIA, just to make this even.
Oh yeah.
She's also heavily implied to be ex-CIA.
No, she's not implied. She's like,
All right.
she's ex-CIA.
All right, so she's ex-CIA. Oh, that is. They'll get to that gag later, but they're like, "Why would you leave CIA? The private sector pays better." Which
And
is,
then we were both like, yes.
yes.
The answer is yes.
This literally happens. You leave the CIA and you write a book called "It Was Really Sad to Torture People," and you make $1 million bazillion. That's what. And you have a Twitter account and you get into fights with people.
I don't know about all that. I'm more just like people who go like any public service job, whether it's law enforcement or like in governments or whatever. Like you leave and then you go like be a lobbyist or you go work for a private corporation because they pay a lot more.
Yep. So Laura Linney now heads to head off to how do I word this? This whole location is very the Dark Continent. Africa is constantly in this movie portrayed as a sketchy, shady place where coups are happening all the time.
Yeah,
I wonder how we got to that point.
They keep implying that coups happen every day, which is like actually kind of a funny thing in the movie. Like it's not great, but it's like. I'll say it's played really funnily. Like I enjoyed that. Mostly I enjoyed Cypher in that scene because he's just like I feel like he's the only person besides Tim Curry who knows what this movie is and has so much fun with that concept, and he's out there with it.
So basically now Karen has to get her ass to the Congo.
Oh, right, the college. We skipped the college.
No, we're going there. So she's, how do I get there? And now we come
They're
to
going to shut the border. I need to be on this manifest.
And now we get to the star of the show, Amy. So Amy is basically inspired by Coco, who I'm sure everyone knows this, but Coco was a gorilla who was taught ASL. Look, in the mid 20th century, we were just doing crazy shit with apes. We figured out they were smart, and we were just trying to figure out how smart, and we thought the best way to do this would be to kidnap them as babies, raise them with people, give them a lot of drugs, and according to like a lot of Taco Bell, and teach them to communicate very specifically on our terms. Should I go on my tangent yet about Ape ASL
Yeah,
or
go
should we
for
wait?
it.
Okay, so basically it's bullshit.
I mean, we're gonna have to. I mean,
No.
Amy's gonna come up. This
Yeah.
is the time.
Basically, there are better podcasts and better articles that are talking about this in depth, but the idea of teaching an ape to communicate through sign language is incredibly flawed for a couple of reasons. Number one, dexterity is very limited in other species of apes. They need to use their hands for other things. They don't have the dexterity you and me do, or people who communicate using ASL do. Number two, the people who taught these apes how to communicate in ASL were not fluent in ASL themselves, and ASL isn't like a baby. It's a real language. It is a real, honest to goodness language. It'd be like me trying to teach Jose Spanish. Wouldn't work.
Why not?
And finally, the way language works, there's no actual proof that they were to develop too complexly. Apes are intelligent. Apes do have their own ways of communicating. But this idea like, oh, Coco wants a sandwich, is like, I don't know, man. Like, if I knew to wave my hands in a certain thing that would give me $20, I wouldn't know what I was saying. I would just be like, when I do this thing, I get something positive. I get me $20. So it's been proven to be incredibly flawed. And also, by removing primates, putting them in a human setting and not actually letting them be primates becomes a big thing about animal welfare. You can read some really great articles on this, but basically in a lot of these studies where they kind of lost funding or had to put a stop on it and the apes went off to other places and were kind of allowed to be more naturally apes, they did a lot better. So people always talk about this, but the truth is kind of the apes no ASL thing is incredibly flawed, and it's not really proven they had a level of complexity that very cleverly edited videos of Coco would imply. So that's my disclaimer. But anyway, Amy is inspired by Coco, so we get to meet Amy, who is just somebody wearing a prosthetic gorilla suit, and Amy talks in sign language.
So, but you were saying about the book specifically, because the book, Amy talks in sign language. But I'll let you take it from here.
In the book, Amy talks in sign language, and her handler, I guess we'll call him Peter, he speaks sign language, or at least understands what she's saying. So the book will use Peter's perspective and be like, Amy came up to Peter. Peter, Amy signed. Amy loved Peter. Yes, Amy said, Peter, I love you too. So the book has that luxury of using Peter's perspective to translate what Amy's saying. And somewhere in the script writing process, somebody said, that's too hard. That's too hard to have subtitles or Peter constantly kind of Han Solo Chewbaccaing to Amy. So they come up with the most obnoxious, ridiculous way to get across what Amy's saying.
I hate this thing so much. So they develop a rope. They basically give her the Power Glove, the Nintendo Power Glove, to do sign language, and it does a voice. And it's like, Amy, do this. Amy, do that. And it's like, it's really annoying. It's really stupid. And look, I get that this is a visual medium, but Amy doesn't seem to talk to anybody but Peter. So it makes no difference that everybody around her can hear her and what she's saying. It makes literally none, because no one else talks to her.
They just don't respect Amy.
So it's stupid, and we have to hear this stupid robot voice the entire time. And look, I feel like there are more effective visual ways to communicate that, like, Amy's saying something, or Amy has an emotion, or Amy's feeling about a certain way. This is a visual medium. We can see, like, Amy's hurt. We don't need to go, Amy fell in a hole. We saw that movie. Thanks.
So anyway, I guess Peter is second guessing the ethics of taking a gorilla and just raising it to be a human. And him and his assistant...
Well, she's also having dreams.
Yes.
She's painting stuff. Amy.
Yes, Amy keeps doing these, like, paintings, and they're pretty elaborate given, like, a concept. There are all these paintings of an eye. And Peter basically does a little, like, a TED Talk, basically. Like, I taught this gorilla to be a person. Amy can talk now. Amy can paint. And also, I'm now having doubts about maybe what I have done, so I'm just going to drop Amy off back in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
It'll be fine, everybody.
Yes. And meanwhile, in his TED Talk, there is Tim Curry making the perviest face you have ever seen.
So, throughout this movie, we were making the joke that it looks like he wants to bang Amy.
All right. I think everyone who, like, watched 90s movies kind of remembers 90s Tim Curry. This is cranked up. This is not Tim Curry with an Eastern European accent. This is a character played by Sacha Baron Cohen.
It's really out there. It's such a weird character. And Tim Curry, at least he looks like he's having a great time.
Oh, I mean, when is Tim Curry not? Have you ever seen a movie and Tim Curry looked sad or he was phoning it in?
No, but he's having so much fun with this. The problem is the fun that he's having, it looks like he's trying to get in Amy's
furry, fuzzy gorilla panties.
Yeah. It's bad. And there are even certain lines that he says that we're just like, take it the wrong way, dude. That's not... It's not coming off of how you think you are.
Like, let me say, your gorilla, she is exquisite.
She is exquisite. I don't know why I did a French accent.
So he, you know, my gorilla wife. So he offers to fund Peter and Amy and their assistant. We have Rob Schneider at home to head off to the Democratic Republic of Congo to drop Amy back in the wild,
and I guess study her for 5 seconds and then head back. I don't know.
There's some exposition.
They explain this.
Maybe Amy will teach the gorillas sign language. I don't know. Who cares? This movie
maybe will assimilate into the gorilla society.
This movie does not have the passion for ape intelligence that I do.
So, anyways, Laura Linney shows up and she's like, "Hey, I need to get on this plane. Hey, I need to get on this plane." Through so many conversations.
Amy drags the shit out of her, though.
Oh, Amy calls her an ugly woman. And,
I don't know.
Again, she hears it, but she doesn't respond to Amy. She's just like, oh, the gorilla can talk.
The gorilla understands, physical attractiveness in humans, and the gorilla knows how to, drop sick burns. And no one seems to be amazed by this.
Yeah.
So she basically offers that she'll fund them, and
he's like, I already got funding. And then they're taking the stuff off the plane, and it turns out Tim Curry's broke.
Yeah. So Tim Curry's.
So she gets to be on the plane. She gets to go in the manifest on the last plane to this African country. Because they're not in Congo yet.
That is the thing too. They're kind of vague on the countries. I think they mentioned Zaire, but given kind of, like I said, the very, very kind of, I don't know if Orientalism is a good word for things that aren't actually like Asia, but there is a very Orientalism, if that makes sense, for how Africa is portrayed.
It's the dark country.
It's the dark, yes, the dark continent. Africa's not a country.
Dark continent, you're right. Sorry, my mistake.
So they're not super interested in the multiple countries, the history these countries have with a horrific amount of colonization. It's just, ooh, Africa, spooky, and lots of coups. So maybe there are countries they're going to, who knows?
So anyways, they're on the plane.
Amy gets wasted.
Sorry,
it's my favorite.
You have to mention that.
No, I just love it. It's just this gorilla. It's not even a gorilla. It's somebody in a gorilla suit just downing a martini.
Should we talk about the suits real fast? So the gorilla suits, they're well done. And they're done by Stan Winston, who, Stan Winston did Terminator and stuff like that. So we all know who he is. But I don't think he quite pulled off these gorilla suits. And it could be because we know what gorillas look like.
My theory, too, is because they're so closely related to us, it has an uncanny valley effect. I think there's sort of a level where you look at a gorilla, and if you see a photo of one, you see one at a zoo, you're like, wow, this animal is an autonomous being with a high level of intelligence. And that's really easy to see if you look at one, understand it. And so I think what you're getting is kind of an uncanny valley effect because this is not a real gorilla.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a real gorilla, but it is, what I'll say is it's something you can physically touch. This... Obviously, Jurassic Park had already come out. They're not going to CG a bunch of gorillas. That's not going to happen at this point in time. But assuming we had the CG, back then, as extensive as it is in Planet of the Apes, the Planet of the Apes movies that came out recently, I don't know if she'd pass muster. I think the Apes movies work because they're more characters than Amy is and any of the other gorillas.
Well, the whole point of we'll eventually do Planet of the Apes is Caesar's this intelligent animal. He has his own story arc. Yeah, he has his own story arc.
And we see that evolution through the CG.
Yeah, he's expressive. He communicates to both the apes and the humans who are in that story. Amy is very much kind of a prop, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Amy's a prop. And then on top of that, her costume, her suit, which is again well done, it just doesn't. It's not expressive enough. Like there's too many times where it just has the resting gorilla bitch face on, and it's like not moving enough to be expressive. Like
which to be fair is tricky because gorillas are not as expressive as our faces are. That's kind of a thing too. They don't have that level of facial muscles we do.
I've gone to the zoo and I've seen gorillas, and they have like they put on like little faces, and they like have emotions, and Amy's eyes are dead.
Dead eyes.
Every gorilla in this movie, because they're all suits, they're all dead. They're all very dead eyes.
Amy dead inside.
And I don't know how you fix that in a costume like that, because the eyes, I don't think they ever move.
I don't. I mean,
their eyelids move, but their eyes like don't dart anywhere.
Yeah, like I said, a CGI. We're far from like Andy Serkis at this point. So they end up in Africa, and yeah, we get a delightful, I wouldn't call it a cameo because he's unknown by then, but yeah, character actor, Cypher from Matrix.
Joey.
Yeah, shows up.
Joey P. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm so sorry.
We also get Ernie Hudson, who is doing, I think the original plan was to probably give him kind of more of an African accent. And they just make him British, or at least that's the best Ernie Hudson can do. Because when you think of Ernie Hudson, you do not think man with amazing accents.
He's playing our typical lovable rogue character.
He's having fun though. He's having fun. He's just being basically like Han Solo.
I feel like a lot of these people are having fun, but they're also phoning it in.
Yeah.
Because Ernie is having fun, but he's phoning it in.
He's having fun, though.
He's having fun. He doesn't give a shit. He's here for the paycheck.
He's doing that. He's doing this weird British, like, swaggering kind of this weird Earl Flynn British accent. It's a little odd. So off they go.
Well, they get detained. So they, like, sneak it off the airport tarmac during a coup, and then they get detained, and they are taken to Captain Wanta. The only reason we know that is because his name's up on the screen. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, African warlord.
Yeah, but
I think Zaire.
We just said this in terms of, I mean, I guess on some level, like, I feel in more competent hands, perhaps the coup every 5 minutes would have been like a fun piece of satire, but it's not well done, and this is no Beasts of No Nations.
It's not quite enough to go into parody, and I'm like, this should be parody.
Which I'm kind of happy it should be, because the Crichton book is really offensive in terms of how it regards like conflict countries.
Again, it's trying to walk that line of like, no, this is a serious movie, but all of our actors are goofing off.
So they bribe him. He yells at Tim Curry a little bit, though.
Oh yeah, he yells at Tim Curry for being Tim Curry.
Yeah.
He was like, you know,
he's eating the sesame cake. That's the one everyone remembers for some reason, which I didn't even remember, like, watching this. And I kind of watched this like thing, and I was like, huh. And then I kind of went online to try to read more stuff about Congo and what people said, and everyone's like, remember when he yells at Tim Curry for eating a sesame cake? I'm like, no, sorry everybody.
I do remember it, obviously,
but what does stand out to me is the next scene where they are on an airplane.
No, the CIA thing comes up here.
Oh, right, they're like,
Captain Wanta points out that Laura Linney is telecommunications, but she used to be at the CIA, and he's like, what? Did the CIA not pay enough? And it was I don't know if it was supposed to be a joke, but we were both like, yeah, probably. Yeah. Hit the nail on the head on that one.
But now they get to another really ridiculous scene. So they got on an airplane attempting to cross into the Democratic Republic of Congo. And but the border is closed, so people are now on the ground firing rocket launchers at their little plane.
And then they all have to jump off the plane.
No. In the best scene, though, they attempt to divert the heat-sinking missile.
Oh, that shit.
Yes.
Okay. So I am 95% sure this is bullshit. Because I know that if you want to divert a heat-seeking missile, if you're in a jet, you can fire off flares. but not handgun flares.
This is that handgun flare. Let's our planes down. Come rescue us on
I don't
deserted
think
island.
this would work.
Yes. So they attempt to divert the heat-seeking missiles
By
with
shooting flare guns at it.
Also, should we just notice that Laura Linney and Ernie Hudson open the plane door, nothing is sucked out, and they just kind of hang out on the side.
It's not a pressurized cabin.
Still.
It's not a pressurized cabin. That is not bullshit.
Okay. For me, I found it ridiculous that she's just hanging out by the door and, like, Amy is not getting sucked out.
When you're flying in a commercial flight, for example, those are pressurized to keep you somewhat comfortable. Because obviously you're not jumping out of a plane in a in a commercial flight. Hopefully, you don't need to do that. So, and you probably shouldn't because there are no parachutes on commercial flights. You're going down with the plane. But however,
I always bring my own.
However, on cargo planes and like stuff like that, they're not pressurized, so you can get air sickness from that. But it's, if you ever go skydiving, you're in one of those planes. They don't pressurize the cabin, so you can just jump out. You don't want to be sucked out when you're not ready. Like, all right, guys, everybody got the parachute on? No, oh no! That you don't want to do that. You don't want to be that dude.
All right. So, all right. But then they all jump out of the
So,
airplane.
Mythbusters.
Yeah. All right.
This is the show now.
Yes. But they do all jump out of an airplane and just land.
Well, so it's supposed to be like, I guess, a funny scene because like everyone gets handed a parachute. Ernie has to jump out with Amy though, which makes no sense the way he jumps out with her. And also, I don't think he should be the one to jump out with her. I think it should be Peter.
In the book, I mean, like I said,
it's a joke in the book.
It's a joke in the book, and it's also because, and like I said, they don't go into the details in this. But I remember specifically in the book, they have to. It's not on a static line, so he has to pull it. And I think the argument is just simply Ernie Hudson's knows what to do, so he'll be able to hold Amy and jump out and pull it, and they just kind of expect Peter to fuck up, I think.
Probably. Like if he goes splat, at least he didn't take the gorilla.
Yeah, basically.
But so here's the thing though. When you skydive tandem, you don't really want to be holding on to the person. You usually face outwards, and you're strapped into that person. Amy is just holding on to Ernie, and it's a joke in the book that he bites her ear, and they make that joke in the movie. Well, I don't know if it's a joke in the book. He gets his ear bitten off.
I think, or like she bites him really badly on the ear, which is funny because in the movie he's like, "Oh, she bit me," and it doesn't. He's not bleeding.
He's not bleeding.
If
nothing.
you've seen gorilla teeth, he should kind of be a mess. But
anyways, they drugged her too.
Yeah. Also,
Which makes no sense.
Amy is constantly on everything in this. Amy is getting drugged. Amy is getting wasted. Amy smokes a joint with Ernie Hudson at one point. Like, Amy should be having the spins this entire...
So, here's another thing. So, again, Amy's not strapped to Ernie Hudson. How the fuck is she hanging on right now if she's drugged?
How is he holding on? Amy has to weigh probably, I'm trying to think, all right, we're going to do a little bit, but Amy's 7 years old, so she's technically a juvenile gorilla. We're going to look at female gorilla weight. All right. All right. Okay, now to be fair, look, an adult female gorilla probably is about 200 pounds. Amy's not full grown, so maybe max she's 150, but still, that's a lot of weight to carry around.
It's a lot of weight to parachute with.
Yeah. Also, Amy's
with
like
no strap.
Yeah.
And she's drugged.
Yep.
So she's not holding on to you real tight.
So, but they land safely, including Amy, which is important. You get to see Amy harass wildlife. That's fun.
Oh yeah, she
pokes a frog.
Pokes a frog. The frog is real.
The frog and the chameleon are real. The gorilla is just somebody in a suit. So they
set up camp or some shit.
They set off. Did we get to the hippo attack?
No, we haven't gotten to the hippo attack because we gotta come across the band of other gorillas, other silverbacks, and then we have to come across the survivor. And then we get to the hippo attack, I think.
So Amy encounters other gorillas, and surprise, surprise, turns out being raised by humans, and being Todd ASL has...
and she has the glove on during the scene.
Yes, has limited her ability to communicate with the gorillas, and she goes up to them, and she's like, Amy, good gorilla. And the gorillas are like, yeah, what the fuck, we don't know you, lady.
Also, why are you talking?
So poor Amy
Throw a
doesn't know
rock
how
at
to.
her.
Yeah, Amy doesn't fit in anywhere because you shouldn't. It's kind of cruel what we do to the primates, quite honestly. Like,
Well,
not.
we teach them sign language, or we take
Yeah.
them to captivity.
I mean, no, I mean, the history of
You work
like.
at a zoo.
Yeah,
so...
no, and I would say it's like the history of captivity is pretty horrific, quite honestly. These gorillas were originally acquired because people would just go into a jungle, kill entire families, and take the babies. Nowadays, like, accredited zoos are much more humane, and I'd say they let the gorillas and the apes be apes and gorillas. They let them act naturally. I think there's something, maybe it wasn't intentional, but I would say there's something cruel about taking a gorilla as a baby, raising it with people, not really allowing it to naturally be itself. And then when they try to return Amy to the wild in this setting, she doesn't know how to be a gorilla. It's kind of mean.
It's mean. So I guess the question is like, how is it different from like a zoo?
That's kind of the thing too.
So I know this is a deep question.
No, I know it's a good question. Because you do get different stories. You do have instances of gorillas who were, some crazy professor had a gorilla in their house and they brought him on campus to Stanford every day or whatever. And the gorillas that get rescued and end up in sanctuaries, it's honestly really hit or miss. Some are able to thrive. Some learn how to become, I'll say primates overall, because this happens with a lot of different animals up and down the primate world. Some primates, they do fine. They learn how to adapt. They learn how to be primates again. Sometimes they're able to mate. Some don't. Some get introduced to a zoo or a sanctuary and they just can't connect. The trauma is just too much and they don't ever really learn how to be like a chimp or a marmoset again. And that's kind of it for them. It's kind of like people. Everyone is able to process and cope their trauma differently. And yeah, sometimes the ones that kind of leave these science or entertainment worlds are able to thrive and do really good, and sometimes they don't.
And you work in an accredited zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the standards there that make it, I guess, humane?
We let the gorillas be gorillas. The gorillas get to live in a natural group that you would see in the wild. The gorillas aren't taught sign language or anything. They communicate among themselves. There's protected contact. You'll never see a keeper going in there and like putting a hat on a gorilla or anything. They're using positive reinforcement. So if they want the gorilla to do something, it's always through reward. The gorilla says fuck you and walks away. The gorilla isn't like punished. Basically, it's what we call animal welfare. I'm actually going to pull this up because it is kind of important to talk about in terms of what animal welfare is.
See, you didn't think in Congo we'd be going this
I knew
deep.
we were going to talk about it. What is it meant by animal welfare? There's a ramble. I mean, some of animal welfare stuff is obvious. The animal has a right to food, shelter, water. The animal shouldn't be scared or stressed. But basically, for me, animal welfare means they have a right to be an animal. And I feel like when you take a gorilla and you put it in a trailer and you give it Taco Bell all day, and you will not feed it unless it asks for Taco Bell using a language you are telling it to talk in, you don't really get to let it be a gorilla. And the quality of life does go down. There's, like I said, there's an amazing study about a bonobo named Kanzi. He didn't get taught AHL, but he communicated using a lexicon, so he could just point and kind of ask for things. And they kind of revamped the program. The original person who funded it kind of got kicked out of the program. And that little area now, it's Kanzi and a bunch of other bonobos. And the lexicon's kind of been modified a lot. So it's a lot more simple. And they're basically allowed to sort of be bonobos. And their quality of life has gone way, way up.
Okay.
But basically, it's hard to explain, but basically, to be yourself is the best thing, right? Like on a level of, I think, any autonomous being.
Like, I guess what happens to the apes? I know that some of them tend to just live the rest of their life in captivity because they cannot return to the wild. Mm-hmm. Is that better? Is that worse? Does that depend?
It really depends. Because you get asked a lot, why can't you send them back? And it's a mix of things. Number one, do they know how to survive? Yes, accredited zoos probably aren't, like I said, putting hats on them and stuff, but they still do get comfortable with people. They're going to go down to some village and be like, Amy, want martini? They'll have difficulty surviving. They could be more susceptible to diseases and whatnot. And finally, the things that have caused their numbers to go down in the wild are still there. The palm oil trade has absolutely decimated the orangutan population. They're critically endangered and they could go extinct within our lifetime very easily. Gorillas are incredibly threatened as well. There's a huge, huge demand for minerals, especially coltan, which we put in literally every single electronic. And the demand for coltan is absolutely gigantic, and it's absolutely devastated the gorilla's habitat. So even if you took a gorilla and you were like, there they go, they'll be able to survive, can they? There is a level of dependency that gorillas have, even in the most humane of, human care settings. And, even if the gorilla completely knew how to survive, maybe they can't, because we've kind of really, really badly fucked up our environment for them.
So anyways, Amy comes across the silverback gorillas. They are...
Well, I mean, the silverback's just like the male. She
The
comes
male
across a gorilla
silverback.
troop. She comes across a gorilla troop.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm Amy. And they're like, whatever,
They're
loser.
like, yeah. How do you do, fellow gorillas?
Basically what Amy does.
Yeah. But again, she's got the glove on and she's talking. It's just weird. So anyways, then the next thing they do... what is the next thing they do?
They get attacked by hippos.
Is that the next thing?
Well, they meet a tribe, but like they're very...
Oh yeah, the tribe. No, this is actually kind of important because
okay.
like that survivor is there.
Yeah.
They lead him to the survivor.
There's a tribe and they're like, hey, this guy's like dying. And they come and I don't even think he says anything. He's just like, oh, and he dies.
And he dies.
He dies. They're like, oh, I guess he died.
Oh, neat.
Cool. All right, and then they head off, and
they finally
get attacked by the hippos.
I'm gonna point one thing before
What?
we're gonna get into the boats first.
I want to talk about the hippos.
I know you want to talk about the hippos. They get into the boats in clearly not Africa.
Yes.
They clearly shot a lot of this stuff in South America.
Costa Rica.
Or Costa Rica. I'm
they have
sorry.
in the credits. Yeah,
Costa Rica. Because like I recognize a lot of the nature, and it was just like, one, there are no wild river rapids to my knowledge where they are in the Congo. They just don't exist. It's not. It looks a lot more like the rainforest than the jungle. And
it's a rainforest.
But like
Africa has a rain.
I know Africa has a rainforest, but it doesn't look like an African rainforest.
All right. Yes.
So it just, yeah, it's very obvious, like Costa Rica.
Okay.
And it's, and they go white river rafting, which I'm like, which I call bullshit on. I don't think that exists in that part.
I'm gonna look it up now.
That probably does. I'm probably full of shit.
Can I know? Like, can I go?
Unless I move on to the hippos, and then you'll stop searching. And we'll never find out.
Rafting in the Congo. No, I don't know. It might be a fun thing to do. Can I go whitewater rafting in the Congo? Yeah, they're rapids.
Oh wow, there are rapids.
Wow,
Movie shut me up.
Look at that. Looks fun. Whee!
Oh, those are not the rapids from the movie, though.
They are not, though, but still. The point is, there are rapids in the Congo.
All right, movie, you got me on that one.
Yeah.
But I was right that it was not Africa.
Right.
Because it's definitely not. You can tell just from like the trees around. So anyways.
Do we get to talk about the hippos?
Yes, we get to talk about that.
There's a hippo attack. And big prosthetic hippos come. Clearly, they were
They're
like...
animatronic.
Yes, they're like...
Not prosthetic. they're not puppets at the end of someone's arm with like makeup on them.
Silly though, like this was the moment they're like, this will be our Jurassic Park moment.
Yeah.
And it's just a big animatronic hippo just rises out of the rapids, just grabs some poor extra and pulls him under.
They are a little too proud of the hippos. Because
the
like
hippos look good though.
They look good,
they
but
make
they're
the gorillas look like piles of crap.
No, they look good. They're on screen for slightly too long. You know, because like, okay, so this is going back to like Jaws. You remember Jaws when like
the shark didn't work, so they didn't show the shark a lot and made the movie better. Yeah.
Blah, 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 yeah. Well, the thing about the hippos is like since the hippos worked, they're on screen a lot, and it's like cut away from them more. You can see some of the seams there.
Anyway, I don't know. I just like talking about that. Hippos are like one of the most dangerous animals.
I thought they were my friends.
No.
They looked hungry.
For you.
So, okay, I think obviously like a hippo would attack if threatened. That makes sense to me. But like,
Oh no, they'll attack unprovoked.
they'll attack unprovoked. Okay.
They're incredibly aggressive.
So don't get near them.
Oh no, you can look it up. There are like multiple like unprovoked hippo attacks. Like they'll just literally just be like, "Bo, I'm gonna fuck you up." Like, oh, they're so dangerous. I think like they have like the highest death rate of like animals in Africa. They kill more people than like lions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because lions, I feel like probably wouldn't come at you unprovoked unless you like stepped a little too close in their territory.
If you're like provoked or a lion was like really hungry and just saw you walking around, but like no, hippos are crazy aggressive. They're like such dangerous animals.
See, this is why it's good to have you on the show, because I'd probably be like, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Everything's bullshit. This whole movie's bullshit. I fucking hate this movie.
This YouTube video, hippos wouldn't attack people.
Ding.
Wrong. This movie's bad.
Ding. Fucking hate this movie, though.
Whatever. So like there's a hippo attack. Anyway, they get to the lost city of Zinj. Like anyway, they end up there, the diamond mine.
Is that what happens?
I don't know. Oh right.
Did we skip anything? Who gives a shit? No one cares. Oh, there's a camp. There's a crashed plane that they shot down.
Oh, that is kind of important. They find a crashed plane, but
everybody's died.
Yeah.
And Ernie Hudson like goes in and he comes back out and he's like, "You don't want to go in there. We'll get our R rating. So let's move on."
So off they go. And anyway, they find the city of Zinj. They find another soundstage. It looks like Legends of the Hidden Temple.
It does. Also, Tim Curry has been looking for this city the whole time.
Oh,
we didn't mention that.
Yeah, that's been revealed. He's not, because basically he introduced himself. He's like, "I am a Tim Curry. I want to fuck your gorilla. Wah wah wee wah.
I mean, I am wealthy philanthropist.
Yeah.
Philanthropist.
But actually, it turns out no. He just wants to go here and get the diamonds. And yeah, he's a grifter basically.
Yeah. And then they go to the city of gorillas.
They do
and
that.
And they start attacking.
They find dead Bruce Campbell.
No, that's later.
No, they find him later. Okay.
Because they go into like the cave, and then like there's like a group of people go into like the little cave with Amy, and everybody else stays back and just hangs out because they're like, we're not going into the deep dark scary cave. Like that's scary. And then the gray gorillas are like, all right, we'll come to you.
Yeah, so basically that's the thing that was murdering Bruce Campbell and the others. Basically, there are evil hybrid gorillas. Because that's the big thing.
They're hippo gorillas.
No,
they attack unprovoked.
And that is the big thing constantly that Peter has been trying to say. He's like, gorillas are nice, gorillas are gentle, gorillas aren't dangerous. And, you know, Laura Linney's like, I think gorillas killed Bruce Campbell. He's like, gorillas would never do that, you know.
They've been framed, I tell you.
They you know, he gets like me. He gets like me, like going off on animals. He's very angry about this. But it turns out there are evil gorillas, but it's okay because they are hybrids. They are gorillas that were interbred with chimps and I think humans, and then selectively bred to be the guardians of the diamond mine.
Yeah.
But they're basically evil gorillas.
And they just...
Yeah, they're white. What do you think? What are they saying? What are they?
I don't know.
The evil white gorillas.
I don't think that they thought this far in the movie. I think they were just like, look, we just can't shoot gorillas.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what they look like. All right, we got to make them like something you cannot find in the wild.
Well,
make them white. All right, good enough.
Good enough. So there are evil white gorillas. They kill. We have Rob Schneider at home. They kill. Kahega, yeah, who I liked. I was like, no, not.
They killed everybody basically who was not in the cave, and they were like, oh no, now we got to get our machine guns out and start shooting everybody. And they have like these automatic turrets, and they set up camp, and they like set up this little perimeter, and they shoot the gorillas and all that stuff. And the gorillas are like testing them.
It's very like, this is our Jurassic Park moment. They're going to be like the velociraptors. They're too smart.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, they're gorillas. They're very smart animals.
But anyways, so they go into the mine finally, and they're like, oh, we found the diamonds.
Oh,
there
and I like this
everywhere.
Because I'm not a geologist. I didn't even go to school, but I'm pretty sure diamonds don't just like fall on the ground. I don't think they're like potato seedlings or something. But he goes and there's just like diamonds just kind of scattered around like Easter eggs.
Yeah, and Tim Curry of course picks them all up, and he's like,
he's just Abu right now from Aladdin.
No, don't touch that. And then all the all the gorillas come out, like the white ones. They're like,
And they beat-
bad.
And they beat Tim Curry to death.
He probably liked it, though.
He finally...
He's like, yes. I've been waiting for this the whole time.
I just wanted to get bored by a gorilla. So they make a break for it. Laura Linney now finds dead Bruce Campbell, but she also finds...
And she finds the gun. The magical diamond laser gun.
And then Laura Linney like takes the diamond to power the gun, and then she says, and what I'm sure the writers were like, this is gonna be the most quotable thing on the year, and she goes,
You gotta put it in the trailer.
She goes, let's put him on the endangered species list, and starts massacring this newly discovered species, which I'm pretty sure was already on the endangered species list. But the way she says it, like you can just tell the writers were like, this is gonna be the coolest thing a woman ever said.
Anyway, she's...
Girl power, eradicating.
We totally forgot to establish the volcano at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, there's a volcano here. Whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the city's right next to a volcano. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Chekhov's volcano. Guess what happens next?
the volcano erupts.
Yay.
Oh no! And it kills all the apes.
They kind of jump into it, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that just are like, oh no, we're totally falling. Also, these gorillas can do matrix jumps.
Yeah.
Gorillas are like, what, like 200 to like 400 pounds or something like
Male
that?
can get up to about 420.
420.
Nice.
So they, you just high-fived yourself. I'm not going to confirm that I high-fived you. The listeners don't know.
Sorry. Basically, look.
So anyways, they do the matrix jump though. So like the gorillas are like on wires and go like, yeah.
It's gorilla. What's it? Wushai?
Wushu? I don't know.
Gorilla. The wires.
Yeah. So anyways, it's a ridiculous scene. I know we're skimming over a lot.
It doesn't matter. The point is the gorillas kind of do like these matrix jumps, and then
And they get shot, and then they get
then
named
they
by
have-
the laser, and then
and
the volcano erupts.
they have a gorilla death cult though. They just all jump in.
They do start jumping in.
I think I never realized that. I was like, why are they jumping in? I think you're right. It's supposed to be the actors falling, but just for safety, they want to make sure the stunt doubles are safely jumping into the green screen.
Oh, they don't care about the stunt doubles. They're like, don't break the suits. Don't break the suits. All right, then I have to jump in. Don't break the suit. All right. The suits are expensive.
So they
There's a star of this movie, not you.
So now Ernie Hudson, Laura Linney, Peter, and Amy make a break for it. Amy's the final girl.
So yeah, they
Run away from the CGI volcano.
Is it CG? I don't know.
It is, and I remember this because they were advertising it because Taco Bell was promoting Congo, and they were like, Taco Bell's new volcano burrito, and they kept showing the volcano scene, which is like, no, that's like the final scene in the movie. Don't give away the volcano erupts. And I remember that, and it's like, yeah you could look it up.
It has not aged well.
Nope.
The effects in this scene have not aged well.
So they escape, and suddenly these gorillas who have just been basically like canceling Amy for the past like 30 minutes show up again.
The ones that were like, Amy's a weird lady, but now that she doesn't have a glove.
I know, they're like, can't believe some of y'all are still following Amy, smacking my head. But they come around, they're like, hey, look, Amy, we're growing, we're learning. That was kind of ableist of us to make fun of your
stupid power glove.
Your stupid power glove. Amy, you can come and live with us. So, and Amy and Peter have a very E.T. moment. Her glove is off now, but she's just like kind of like, E.T. like, I'll be right here, you know.
Don't poke me.
That's E.T.
Don't poke me. Don't do it.
Yeah, so she's like basically says bye to Peter. So these gorillas just accept Amy, even though she apparently doesn't speak gorilla and is an alcoholic.
And that's basically the end of the movie. We did skip one scene.
Oh, they get in a hot air balloon.
No, they do get in a hot air balloon to escape, but we also skipped the part where Laura Linney gets back on the satellite phone.
Oh, right, that is kind of important. Joe Don Baker.
And calls Joe Don Baker, and he's like, your son's dead. Bruce Campbell's dead. And he's like, did you get the diamonds?
Oh, it's so good. They don't even try to pretend. They're just like, what would an evil cartoon millionaire say?
Yeah. Did you get the diamonds?
My son, he was a loser.
Oh, yeah, it is very, I can't go there.
I feel bad because it is exact. Here's my loser. He's bad. That's why the gorillas got him, folks. Folks, the gorillas are bad. I can't do it.
No, but it's so bad. It's so over the top. And, like, Amy's like, remember what I told you before I left on this trip? I don't remember if we recapped this part, but basically she said, look, this is an expedition to save your son. If I find out it's about your diamonds, you're not getting your fucking diamonds. And this fucking guy who was told what would happen is just like, give me the diamonds. And she's like, I told you what would happen. I'm going to not use you're not getting your diamonds. Fuck you. And he's like, no, of course I care about my son. And I'm like, you couldn't have acted for like 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Been like, oh, I'm sorry.
Like, oh.
Did you get the diamond?
Did you get his body? Is he okay?
Does he have anything on it? Like a diamond?
Is there anything in his backpack?
Did you check?
Did you check?
Maybe he has a letter for me saying that he loves me and a diamond.
And a diamond? Could you bring those back too? You know, since you're there.
Yeah.
He couldn't even do that. He's just like, where's the diamonds? Give me the diamonds. And she's like, well, fuck you. And then she uses the laser gun to blow up the satellite. He's like, no, if you use the laser gun that was supposed to be used for communications and diamonds, you're going to blow up the satellite. No, you're going to ruin everything. And then she blows up the satellite from a laser on Earth.
She blows up the satellite and then on
I have no idea how she did that.
She blows up the satellite and then has a very like last scene of Titanic where she throws the diamond off the hot air balloon and then she goes to sleep and has a dream where she sees Tim Curry and Kaega again and they ask her to dance.
That last part doesn't happen.
Yes, it does.
So that's the end of this movie. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie so hard. I hate this movie so much. I'm sorry, everybody. I fucking hate this movie.
I'm not saying I liked
the
movie.
Don't say you like it.
I didn't say I liked it. I said there's a lot to talk about.
Is there?
We had a lot of discussions about how diamonds work and the ethics of apes in captivity.
Okay, that part was a deep conversation, but like the rest of this movie. Look, I'll admit we had a very deep conversation that you may or may not hear the full length of, listeners, but this movie though does not give a shit about anything we just talked about. And it's bad.
It is bad. I mean, really should you watch it? I don't know. Do you like watching bad movies? I mean, don't watch it by yourself, you loser. Like, after quarantine, have some friends over. Like, once you're all vaccinated and watch it and laugh with them.
I mean, I
would do that.
Probably. I mean, if you're going to watch it alone, watch it alone. Just, get drunk.
I mean, you could, like, I'm trying to think of a social distancing way. You could sync it up.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
You can sync it up and like use one of those apps or watch it on Discord with some of your buddies.
Get all your friends to subscribe to HBO Max and watch Congo together.
Don't illegally download it because that's now a felony.
No comment.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, let us know what you thought. Let us know if you liked Amy or not. I liked Amy.
Let us know if you liked Amy's voice.
No. Amy the gorilla is fine. Her voice needed a little work.
Amy, good. Amy, bad. Ugly woman. Wow, wow.
But please write to us at Ape-teur Theory at gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts.
I promise we check that email every day.
Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you have any
email since we opened it.
Watch. It'll say we should open it because we probably want a free PlayStation 5 and we just have to give them our credit card number.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Cool.
I have like 7 of those.
But let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any questions about the logistics of apes teaching ASL. Or like I said, I mention a couple papers, like I said, about teaching ape stuff. There's also some really great podcasts that discuss this too. If you're curious, let me know. I'm really happy to link and I'm happy to elaborate further on this stuff as well. I know it's stuff a lot of people don't understand and maybe have some legitimate concerns and questions about. So yeah, let us know. I don't speak for my job, but I didn't name it in here because I made Jose edit it out. Yay!
Yay.
Okay, cool.
All right, so that'll do it for us. I have not picked the movie for next week. It might be Monkey Trouble. We'll announce it on Twitter, but it might be Monkey Trouble. I might actually just rent it because I saw the trailer the other day, and it looks amazing.
Okay.
So it might be Monkey Trouble.
Doesn't it have Gerard Depardieu in it? Or am I thinking of another?
No, it
movie?
has Harvey Keitel in it.
Oh, even better.
So
even
it
better.
is. I watched the trailer for it because it's on iTunes trailers, and I was just like, oh my god, this movie.
Okay.
So I might spend the money and rent it.
Also, congrats! You didn't say monkey once.
I said Monkey Trouble. Does that count?
Yeah, but you didn't call Amy a monkey. Or
I didn't call Amy a monkey.
Gorillas a
You
monkey.
know, this movie didn't call Amy a monkey. I don't think.
This movie, like I said, is
They stuck to gorilla, and I think they said ape, but they did not call her a monkey.
no. But like I said, the movie, and like I said, for all my bitching about Crichton, he did do his research into what we knew about gorillas at the time, and I think they're kind of basing it in that, and they did go to a legitimate, reputable gorilla foundation and to legitimate zoos to study gorillas. So this movie is very respectful to them.
Yeah, the gorillas came off great.
Yes.
No one else did.
Nope. They're the only winner here.
Or Tim Curry.
Yep. All right. Stay safe. Recycle your cell phones to help the gorillas.
I don't know how else to. Yeah, just fucking hate this movie.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That was fun.